All right, starting a few minutes late here. Apologies about that, but I will get started. Still doing a tiny bit of setup, but didn't want to keep people waiting who might be watching. Let's see here. Bear with me. Okay, everything looks good. Yeah, I think we're all set here. So, I assume that most people who would be showing up would have seen this already. But yeah, we're going to start working on the Arweave contract for Strongpool. Yeah, and we're going to start from pretty much from scratch here. So, the status of the distributed pool is a lot of the, well, I would say most of the machinery that communicates between the Arweave node, gets the proofs, puts the proofs out in a shared place where people can evaluate them for how much work they contribute to the pool, and then the publishing of the plans. Like a lot of that machinery is done, and then the two, as always, there's lots of little details to fill in still, but the two big things that need to be finished are: I need the contract, which sort of governs the pool and is the way that it ultimately, you manage the sort of decentralization part, because you need people to put up something of equal value to the tokens they might get to compel redistribution to the rest of the pool. And then the proofs that I'm generating right now are not fully validatable, so I have to generate fully validatable proofs so that people don't spoof the proofs. Unintentional rhyme there. So yeah, I think the proof stuff is probably not great for streaming, but I think the contract stuff is, and it's not the initial contract doesn't have to be super complicated. So I think trying to start that from scratch and stream most to all of it would be a good thing, and could be sort of an interesting resource. I might make a playlist just out of this, so people can follow along. That's assuming I don't take too many wrong turns in this process. Okay, so I should probably do a little bit of explaining up front how smart contracts work in Arweave. Yeah, just kind of thinking through where I want to start here. So yeah, the paradigm in Arweave, or let me back up a second, contrast that to something like Ethereum. So the way something like Ethereum works, you have smart contracts that exist out in Ethereum, and they're just little programs that decide how tokens function, and you can interact with them, and they just are little programs to execute out on this blockchain. In Ethereum, or anything that is similar to Ethereum, the way those execute is actually on all the computers that are maintaining the consensus of the chain. Some of that's getting kind of split up now a little bit, I think, but it's still basically everyone executes these programs who is responsible for executing the consensus algorithm, and then it's sort of like modular in terms of how the software is actually structured, but same kind of thing. You have a big computer, everyone is maintaining a shared state. With Arweave, it's a little different. The execution of the contracts is actually local, and so the blockchain maintains it maintains this immutable log, and then events are added to the log through the local execution of Arweave contracts. And then the consensus on the contract state comes from everyone basically agreeing on the contract code. So it's more of a social consensus around the contract code. Now, right now, I think these two models are, a little. I think these are going to converge in some ways, in that Ethereum, parts of Ethereum and similar chains are going to be split up more, and then there's going to be a stronger consensus mechanism, I suspect, within Arweave as time goes by. So you can imagine ooh, this is getting into like more blockchain details than I maybe want to dig into. But I think you can imagine SmartWeave progressing to be more of a roll-up like thing, where actually the output state of the contract is also more of that recorded on the chain. And there's things like fraud proofs. That's super hand wavy, but I think probably it will evolve into a more trusted execution environment than it has right now, and a more robust, I don't know if I want to say robust, a stricter consensus model than what it has right now. Yeah, but the basic idea is just a lazy, locally executed consensus with SmartWeave, and hopefully that makes sense. I never quite know where to start with some of these explanations, because I think there's people who are like, oh yeah, I know all that already probably, and then there's people who are like, what are you even talking about, because they maybe are not familiar with how this stuff executes in other systems. But hopefully that's enough to give you some threads to pull on. Another model which might be familiar to some people is just like a lazy like event sourcing, essentially. So like you could think of event sourcing the same way, and if you think of event sourcing as you have a sequence of events and then you're computing some state on the events, but you never write the state down and all you have is a sequence of events, that's similar to SmartWeave. And the thing to know is, like, in an event sourcing system, you're typically operating in a high trust environment, so you don't really have to worry about people producing invalid events. In a blockchain, that's clearly not the case. Like, you're going to have people trying to steal stuff from you all the time. The way that you maintain that consensus and avoid attacks is just through all the honest actors, or all the people who care about the state of the contract have agreed to run the same code, and the code's just going to discard any invalid states that come out of it. So if someone posts something really funky, like I'm transferring all the tokens to myself, your version of the contract is going to look at that, say that's invalid, just ignore it and keep going. And maybe to situate that more in the blockchain space again, Lazy Ledger, now Celestia, I think essentially has the same model that they're suggesting people build on top of them. And again, like, all of these things I think can be made stricter. There's a spectrum of sort of strictness, and right now SmartWeave lands in the place where it's not really the sort of stock version of it is not really posting the state of the contract anywhere. It's just posting the events, and so you don't have any, you sort of have to recompute the thing from scratch. And I suspect it will move in a direction of, oh, you actually are posting state, and some people are working on versions of this, and then you have something like fraud proofs, or you could envision a ZK version of this too, and at that point it becomes more like a roll up. So I think I just repeated some of the things I said earlier, but again, hopefully that gives enough threads to pull on to situate kind of what's going on in most people's minds to some extent. Okay, so let's get into making the contract. I just fired up. We're going to start in JavaScript. I think this will turn into TypeScript, but I just sort of want to do the minimal thing initially. Contract requirements. So I just have my source file here for the contract. It's going to be a JavaScript file. I'm just going to write down a list of the things that the contract needs to do initially. And again, I'm going for like minimal everything here, because I just want enough here to be able to do an initial public launch where I don't have to fully trust all the participants, but I don't want to put all the bells and whistles in. Like, that can evolve over time as I understand more what problems need to be highest priority. So this is going to be minimal. And for the very minimal contract, I think the thing you need to be able to do is, let me say contract requirements, right? So you need to track tokens, right? You, let me say token ownership. You need to be able to, and this would apply, both like how many tokens someone has and being able to transfer them, just at a very broad level. You need to be able to stake tokens, and I'll expand on that. That is how you spell that steak, right? I'm going to go with it. My brain is terrible at homonyms. I tend to think of anything that sounds the same in my head as the same word. So apologies. But yeah, that's right. The other one would be the food. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, stake tokens. You need to be able to stake tokens. You need to be able to slash tokens. And I think that's about it, right, at a really high level. So there's some nuance here. So for the staking, what I want to do is stake tokens with delayed unlock, and I'll explain what that means as we get into writing this. Probably I would be impressed if we even got very far into the staking this time. So let's just start with the ownership tracking. But anyway, I will explain a little bit what I mean here. So one way you can stake tokens is just I'm going to stake some amount for a specified period of time. And we could do that, but what I want to do, honestly, I need to look into more. Like, I'm new to the smart contract space, so I need to understand better like what people actually do in these situations. But what makes sense to me, just thinking it through based on what the pool would need, is what I actually want to do is say, I am going to stake tokens that I can unlock at any point, but when I unlock them, there will be a delay between when I say I'm unlocking them and when they're actually unlocked. And the reason I want to do that is I want to minimize the transactions, because I just don't want people having to restake their tokens all the time to participate in the pool. I basically want to say, you're going to stake these indefinitely. You can unlock at any point, but if you unlock, it's going to unlock like 3 pool rounds into the future. So that you can't, unlock, transfer your tokens right when you get a block and exit the pool, and like steal that block. So it's like a delayed unlock. They just put like 3 rounds in the future. 3 is kind of arbitrary. I think what you really just need 2, but especially initially, I just want to have some margin of safety in these things. So yeah, with the delayed unlock of 3 rounds in the future. So that would mean you can just stake once, and as long as you're honestly participating in the pool and not having any issues, you can just leave them stake forever without any more transactions. Again, new to the smart contracts, so it's possible there's some terrible flaw in that I'm not imagining yet, but we're going to go down that path and see how it goes. All right, so in terms of like working with the contracts, I've set up a few things in advance. Just installed. Let me look at package.lock. Yeah. Maybe that's not terribly informative. Basically, I've installed 2 npm packages locally. I've installed the SmartWeave package, and I've installed RLocal. And SmartWeave is just a tool for interacting with SmartWeave contracts, and then RLocal is like a little Arweave simulator. It doesn't. It's basically just simulating the HTTP interface of Arweave. It's not really simulating the guts of the consensus, but just simulating the interface is enough to let you simulate contract execution. That's really what we want, because you can test on Arweave. It's pretty cheap to do that, but now that this exists, I don't see a lot of reason to play around with that initially. You might as well just test on RLocal, save yourself a little bit of tokens and a little bit of cruft out in Arweave. So yeah, those are the 2 things we need to get started here. Let's just take, there's some examples. And again, the 2 repos I'm looking at here is the Arweave SmartWeave, and then the Textury, which is a company that builds tools on top of Arweave for Arweave developers. And then I have a couple other things I'll get into later. There's Redstone is an Arweave team that is working on Oracle infrastructure on top of Arweave, and they have their own version of the execution part of SmartWeave, and we will play with that, but probably not this time. So just know that there's this sort of canonical initial implementation of SmartWeave, and then there's this more experimental implementation of SmartWeave that is probably where things are going to go in the future, but is not where I'm going to start initially here. Unless I run into problems, and then maybe I'll switch to it. So in the SmartWeave repo, so I'm in Arweave team SmartWeave, there's an examples directory, And I'm just going to grab... Ooh, what are these JSON things too? Is that the... interesting. Yeah, let's start with this. So I'm going to grab this example PST token. And this is going to implement, I think, transfers and get balance and then evolve, which is basically a way you can change the contract over time. And there's some things I don't like about it, but I think for at least the test version of the contract, like the initial version, I will keep this, and then I may transition away from it for the non-test version. I'm sort of imagining a like a testnet kind of launch where early participants get into the testnet and mess around with it, and then they get some tokens in there, and then maybe eventually those tokens just get transferred into the finalized, whatever, the real production release. But the initial release would probably, even the initial public release would probably be sort of a testnet thing. Although, in terms of like what the pool is doing, it's all going to be live Arweave tokens. So it's going to be like a, participate in this thing at your own risk type of endeavor. But I guess that's typical for crypto things. So, okay, so I'm just going to take this, paste this code in here, and then we'll grab this and see, token, do that. Oops. Okay. So we'll take this guy, and then I have a, oops, nope, not cat, just ls. I have in here, I think I'm sitting a little too far away from my mic. This is just a test wallet. It has no Arweave tokens in it. Oh, I wonder, our local, what's the token situation there? Before you send, yeah, okay, so we gotta mint some. Okay, yeah. So we'll just call this SBT, that's fine, this is local testing. That's just strong pool test is what I'm thinking that means in my mind. Okay, so in theory, this should be enough to start up a strong pool contract. Okay. NPX our local. Do I have that? There we go. And then, yeah, we'll just keep. Host 1984. Okay, so what do? We do mint address balance. Mint. So this guy again. Test wallet doesn't have any real Arweave tokens out on the mainnet, and that's how I recommend you do things because it's just way too easy to accidentally do something that you did not intend to. So let's see, mint address balance. So we'll just say, sure, it doesn't really matter. That's, let's see, is this in mint new R tokens? Whatever, we'll just mint 1 million. I don't know if this is in Winston's or, I don't know. We can always mint more, and I'll do that, 1,000. Okay, so balance. Let me look up. I just want to see. I don't know if our local implements this or not. Let's look. So I think it probably implements enough of the Arweave API that I can get the balance. Yeah, it has to. Otherwise, wouldn't be able to transact probably. So let me see routes. Wallet. Wallet balance. Yeah. Okay. So let's do this wallet balance 1,000. Yeah. So that probably was Winston's, I think. Should make sense. So let's do, there we go. 10 of those. Always represented in Winston's, yep. Okay, yeah, so we have enough in there. All right, so let's go back and look at SmartWeave here. Okay, so let me dig into, yeah, so the source location initial state file. So ticker, SPT, divisibility, balances. And then my key file. And then we need to, let's see. Okay, I think what we want is, so let me get into the contract directory, npx SmartWeave. Actually, does it tell me? No, it doesn't. So we need to get this to work with the local Arweave port. 1984. Arweave host. Let me do this in the other order. Host equals localhost. And I think this will work. Arweave protocol equals P. Yeah, let's see, argv. Okay, so let's go back here, and what do we got? So we're going to do create contract, and then token, and then key file. Key file is this guy. Not enough non-option arguments, really. Really. Source initial state key file. What am I missing? I wonder if it's like an argument order thing. Maybe the options have to come at the end. Well, you know what? Let's try to do this. Go back to, no, this is not going to do anything, again, because this key has nothing in it. But I will just remove this stuff. Try to do that. So we got create the source location, the initial state. Key file. Oh, okay. Key file. Fair enough. yeah, it's good. That is good. So let's take this. I'm just going to copy these. It might be that all that other stuff needs to come at the beginning. All right, let's try that. Really? Oh, yeah. So I'm still missing key file. I did not fix that. Okay. I wonder if it's a... Well, let's do this before I just bumble around here. Let's look up yargs node.js. So we're using yargs for the argument parsing. What does it do? What I'm wondering is if it actually is sort of doing some transformation. It probably is. I bet it's expecting this. Let's try this. Arweave host. I said I wouldn't just mess around here, but whatever. We'll try it. Okay, no, that didn't work either. Okay, so let's see. I must be missing something about what it's actually looking for. So Arweave port, Arweave host, Arweave protocol. Process, hide bin, argv as any. Okay, well this does tell us one thing. Yeah, interesting. Well, are we getting... Oh, no. So, okay. Oh, no, that just may have been me. That was just me initially. All right, let's try this. Let me run that again. Arweave-host, Arweave-port. Okay. What about... Arweave host. Arweave host, Arweave port. Not seeing it yet, honestly. Let's go back. Let's go back to this version. Feel like I'm... Oh, it did accept that version. Interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely missing something here in terms of how you pass this in. Hide bin, process argv as any, const argv, Arweave port, Arweave host. Now let's see, I'm not getting any requests here. So it's definitely not going to the right place. Arweave key file, Arweave wallet file. Interesting. Let me look. So this is just in the nature of like checking the plug, so to speak, to make sure things are actually functioning the way I think they are. Just digging into the actual SmartWeave CLI. Ooh. Right, because it's TypeScript. Let's see. I think that should... No, no. Okay. Why would that not? That should work, right? Why wouldn't that work? Interesting. Which node modules? Maybe I should have tried this part out beforehand. I'm not sure that CD node modules. Oh, dot bin, right? That's the okay. Dot bin. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's look at this. So, see, Arweave, source bin, Arweave TS. Oh, here we go. Dry run. What does the dry run do? Can we get away with no, I don't think so. Let's look at the create handler. Really? Okay. Okay. So create is create commands, yargs, command module, create blah blah blah, options, positional contract source, create command handler. What about any R local guidance here? The thing I'm missing is how you actually pass in the Arweave host and port into this into SmartWeave for create. All right. Well, you know what? I'm almost wondering if it might just be easier to start with redstone. Examples. Oh, a tutorial. Yeah, let's go here. I think this is where I'll end up anyway. So let's see. Does this mention our local? Yes. Yes. Okay, good. Oops. Okay. Create. SmartWeave create contract. I want the... Is there no command line though? I mean... I do want to write tests, but... Let's see. Well, it's fine. Let's just install it. npm install. Actually, before I forget, let me SmartWeave lib bin just remove this junk. Yeah, I'm not sure how if this other thing actually gets invoked, if it is at all. Let me look at that for another second before I go down the redstone path. So this guy, how is that? SmartWeave CLI. Oh, I wonder, where is this thing? Oh, that's in the repo. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Let me go back. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, this might be old Croft. Fascinating. Yeah. So this is working a little differently than I thought. In the sense, I think it may not be possible to specify, unless it's maybe via environment variable somewhere. I'm not sure it's possible to specify what Arweave you're connecting to here. Let me search for env. Let's see if we can figure out where, this is a little, going on a little different tangent than I thought we would, but this is kind of interesting too. Let's see if we can figure out where the Arweave object is actually initialized in this thing. So if we go down here to create commands, what do we have here? Create command handler. Demand command. Interesting. So that would be, that's coming from what? Handlers. Handlers are here. Okay. Ah, yeah, okay. So here we get it. It does look like you're kind of stuck with that. Enjoying the emojis here in the log messages. Okay, well, fair enough. Let me look. Missing features. What do we got? You know what I'm gonna do? Well, I was gonna say I could hijack that. Actually, you know what? Just for the purposes of this, I know what I'll do. I'm gonna go into. This is don't do this, but for the purposes of the stream, I think the answer is, they're trying to push you. The Redstone folks are away from the command line. Which is fine. I think, I was envisioning just interacting with the command line as like a sort of quick and dirty way to muck around with some things interactively. I think that they're more pushing you towards writing tests. It's probably a good thing. But I think for the purposes of just making a little progress in this stream, what I'm going to do is just go into this handler and change where it's connecting to. Which, again, absolutely do not do this. This is like the wrong thing. I'm just doing it so that we can get to some other more interesting things in the stream. Right. So where's my handler? Where was I at there? So bin clib bin handler JS. Yes. Don't do this. Do not. Please don't do this. At least I'm not writing this down anywhere, because then as soon as you write things down, people will copy them and repeatedly do them. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go back and see if we can. And just for the heck of it, well, no, I'll leave that. Well, I think we'll know right away if this is working or not. Doop. Okay, Smart Weave. Don't need all this extra junk because it doesn't do anything. The reason I got misled there, I think, is that there's just a script in the repo. This thing that is calling this old code here. I don't think this is really used for anything except maybe testing Smart Weave inside the repo itself. I think this is just kind of legacy, which that happens. Yeah, so there we go. I hacked it in there. Not not the thing to do, but to make some progress in this this stream. Let's do it. Okay, so do you want to pay blah 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 to publish your contract? If so, write this random adjective, distinct, and press enter. Just trying to protect you from yourself, I guess. Let's do it. Unpredictable happened. Really? What do you mean it was unpredictable? $410? What's a 410? HTTP, I don't know that one off the top of my head. Gone. Interesting. Okay. I wonder if this is well, I don't know. I don't know if that's something I did wrong or if it's again some sort of like idiosyncrasy of my test setup here. So let's go with I wish we knew exactly what was being posted there on that TX. Oh, I know. Maybe. Yeah, let's go look at our local a little bit. So, mine. After the transaction is sent, to confirm your transaction, you need to mine. So let's mine. And then we should get a block, right? Curl. point. Okay, so we mined. Let's go to, so we should be able to retrieve that. Be able to do block. What is the, gotta look that up. What's the path? Nope, not the block format. I want to get the block by ID. Block hash, right. Yeah, I should have remembered that one. So block hash transaction. So nothing in there. Okay, interesting. The previous block. What's the previous block? Do any of these blocks have transactions? Not found. Okay. Interesting. I wonder what you're getting for that TX anchor. All right, let's mine that. Get the block by the hash. Okay, no transactions. Okay, so I'm wondering if we can look at a little more what's going on here. I think the answer is this is just not the way to do this. But given the time I am in this stream, I just want to dig into it a little more and see if we can debug what's happening. I think the right way, so if we go back to Redstone, do I have that tutorial open? I think not. Yeah, let's go with the tutorial here. Want to get down to where they're talking about you know, this might not be too bad. This might not be too bad to get going. Let's try this. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, because I'm willing to go for half hour more here. npm install save dev. I'm not doing yarn, but you know I probably will in the future. Arweave redstone. Let's see, Arweave's probably in there already, but whatever. Do it anyway. Redstone SmartWeave. We already have our local. And we'll just do touch example JS here. Okay. So let's start off at the very beginning of their little example runner. So load required modules. Let's do this. Go over here. Yeah, I think the overall thing I've learned so far is that there's some rough bits of the, the original SmartWeave. The command line doesn't let you specify the host, and as far as I can tell, it could be I'm missing something still. And that Redstone looks a bit better. Again, I think they say this what they're doing is they consider alpha, but this looks like a bit more fully baked solution, with the caveat that SDK is currently in alpha. I think they say they're using it in production, but still early. All this stuff is still very early. But the way they want you to interact with it is they have no command line, and they want you to do write a JS file that's interacting with stuff, which is fine. That's totally reasonable. Okay, so let's grab this. Contract. Did I not? Where did I? Oh, wrong directory. Let's put it there. Okay, so let's just grab that. And node example. Does that run? Yes. Not doing anything yet, but it does run. And I'll just keep running that over here. So node example. Cool. Okay. A little more setup here. Yeah, so this stuff all goes inside our little async area. Props to the Redstone team for putting this together. This is a nice way. And I think in the next video, since I got off to a little bit of a false start in terms of going down our local path instead of going straight to this kind of setup, or rather, I shouldn't say our local path. I got started going down the original SmartWeave plus our local path, which seems to not be the best way. I suspect you could also do something like this with the original SmartWeave. Like do it all as tests, but since Redstone has written up this nice thing, I think let's just start with the Redstone stuff. But anyway, since I did that, I think probably what I'll do is review all this initial setup at the beginning of my next video. So if I do make a playlist, it can start with that one and not go through the sort of path I went down, the wrong path I went down initially. Yeah, let's get rid of that. So again, just testing each of these things as I do them. Does that make sense? Yeah, it would just keep running until yeah, I think that makes sense. It would just keep running. So we'll do this. Okay. What I actually want to do, honestly, is I think I'm going to write the contract in TypeScript or JavaScript initially, maybe, but I don't know. I'll probably actually just start with TypeScript in the next video. But I want to test it with ClojureScript, because in ClojureScript I can do generative testing, and that seems super useful for a contract. So I'll have to think through a little bit how I structure that, if I put the tests in a different repository or what. But this will be a nice way to do sort of like minimal testing. Yeah, so what do we got? So the, oops. Whatever, that stuff's gonna get blown away anyway. So, okay, so we got the contract.js, and then the initial state is token.js. And also, do not read anything into why I'm naming these things either. I'm just like cargo culting and pulling from what I'm reading in other repos, but I don't know if the naming of some of that stuff is the best. Deploy your contract. Right. So this is going to take, it's going to create contract, SmartWave, create contract, deploy, wallet, initial state, contract source. And then we're going to see, do we have that? Yes. Okay. So we created those right here. Okay. So in theory, this will deploy our contract. Uh-oh. Unable to write contract source. Really? Really? Why? Unable to write contract source. Oh. Get rid of that. Default create contract deploy. Async. Unhandled. This error originated by the throwing. Huh. What am I missing? What am I missing? Well, let's do... I wonder if this was the problem all along. Certainly, I wonder if my comments are actually messing with it. That would be weird. Let's just get them out for the... No. Okay, well, you know what? Let's look at this file. Default contract.js. Oops. And what is it? 33? Okay. Creating new contract. How far do we get in this thing? Not very far. Oops. No, no, that's not what I wanted. At async example JS 30. Well, that doesn't tell us anything. We know where it's coming from. I wonder. I'm gonna do this. What? It's in use. Really? Oh, I backgrounded it. Fascinating. Same thing. So do we get to... Let's see. Up our log level a little bit here. Okay, debug, creating new contract, posting transaction with source. Okay, so posting. Okay, so it gets all the way through this. Is there something wrong with my key? Oh, wait. I feel like, oh no, I'm generating a wallet for this. Interesting. Yeah, wallet's right there. Initial state. Is our initial state? Let's see, do we even get to that? Source. Okay, so we got here, we're doing the deploy from source. Let's see, how far do we get into the posting transaction with source? So we get to deploy transactions post source TX. Source TX is created here. Interesting. Okay. Console.log source TX. Fascinating. So we are making a transaction. I'm curious. So, okay, let me go back. I'm just going to do this and then do set work. Oops, no, work sample. Not in the right directory. Dash H. Nope. Port. Oh, it's just okay, 1985. Sure. Okay, that didn't background that right. Yeah, so this way I'll see the debugging output. Let's see, is there log? Show logs. Okay, let's see what happens. Just curious what that's actually, what calls that's making. Probably a way to, huh. And 410 is what's gone. Yeah, I'm really curious what kind of dot I'm not connecting here. I mean, this is exactly the same behavior, at least in terms of what's being logged here, as I saw when weird. When I tried to interact with it from the command line. Let me go back. Did I miss a step? Certainly haven't noticed any. You know, the one thing I noticed they're not doing here is giving any tokens to the wallet, but I assume that. I mean, maybe I shouldn't assume that. I would think. Huh. You know, I know there's another thing too that like simulates smart weave contracts without interacting with anything remote at all. Just check my chat and make sure there's nothing in there. That's another way to go. I do want to interact with like a Arweave mock though. I just, you know, I think ultimately you probably want both for testing, but I think having the mock is pretty important for, you know, more full integration testing. Dedicated repo. Let's see. I wonder. I'm just wondering if there's a little something missing in terms of what they have in that file. Custom client example. Okay, well, you know what? Let's look at this. I want to go look at the Arweave JavaScript library. And instead of using yeah, I think I could do this. So const. Well, first, just to double check my thinking here, I'm just going to do that. I mean, oops, closure style comment, not what I want. So I'm just going to run that, and I would assume. Okay. Yeah. So, I'm gonna do this. I think the thing I'm wondering, I mean, this would be a problem with their example, perhaps, if this is the case. Let's see, is that giving me the same errors I got before? Unable to write contract source. Yeah, so I think I'm getting to the same spot. They're not giving any tokens to the thing, so I don't know if that's something that works because balance. Oops. I don't know. That's a thing that works because it's like a test stub thing in the form of rlocal. or if that's actually just something that's been omitted from the example that should be in there, but it's not. Because I mean, surely our local does have to check balances, otherwise it's not going to be a very good test stub. Okay. Perl HTTP. Aw, is that not in my history? Guess not. It's a mystery to me sometimes how fish history works. Fish being my shell. Okay, I'm getting a little sidetracked here. Balance, mint. Okay, so let's do the whole mint. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh. I guess I'm running on 1985 at the moment. So now does it work? Hey! Okay. Create a new contract. Yeah. Oh, fascinating. Was not. Did I put that debugging in there? I don't think so. It's more debugging than I was expecting here, I guess is the. Interesting. So, for some reason, when I was trying the stock SmartWeave and constructing it using the command line, I was seeing the same kind of behavior, but I definitely minted. I wonder. Yeah, I'm wondering if. But it checked the balance. I think that must have been a different problem. It superficially looked somewhat similar, but okay. So I think this worked. So let's see if we can get an interaction going. So the contract I have, again, I just copied the example. So I should make a note for myself. I think that's actually a bit of a bug here in the Redstone tutorial. I think they should be adding some tokens for that wallet that they're generating. Could be I'm missing something, but I'm going to make a note of that, and maybe I can send them a PR, or at least ask them. PR, Redstone. Okay. Always debating when I'm doing these things, like, should I have prepared more so that you don't see all the like really getting started stuff? I don't know. I mean, I think some of that can be valuable, but then sometimes maybe not. I guess it just depends on what you want out of these streams. But you're getting the real thing here in terms of giving some of this stuff a try for the first time. Okay, so PR Redstone, balance test wallet. That'll be enough to remind me later. Okay, so let's go back here. So I want to let's take this and I want to get this running so that I can kill this RM. Remove that. So starting with a fresh database. And what I want to do here, you know what? No, it's gonna take too long. I want to alter this so that it does create the tokens for the wallet. But I think it's just gonna be too much in this video. I'll try to have this, I think, all set up by the next time, so that we can start off with a really good, test setup here. and start from there. Okay, so let me do that, and we'll go ahead and add some more tokens. I think I just want to see interaction with the contract, and then probably wrap up for this stream. Alrighty, so set up AR local. Gotta go put this thing back in. Node example JS. Okay, cool. So we created the contract. Now, don't want to do this anymore because we've already created it. Okay. Interact with the contract. So we'll do this. Oops. I think I have some funky, well, my NeoVim settings are exactly what I would want for JavaScript. I'm mostly writing in ClojureScript these days and TypeScript, and I think the TypeScript must be getting a little different config than JavaScript. Okay, so let's read the state. Let's see what we got. Oops. Ooh, what's it saying here? Contract TXID. Oh, okay. Okay. I wonder if this is going to yell at me because it already exists. Guess we'll find out. Probably not, because you should be able to deploy the same contract multiple times. All right, cool. There we go. We got state. So that, my understanding of this is, oh, validity. I wonder what that means. Fascinating. Okay, so there's two things that we deploy when we deploy the contract. So there's the contract JS, which is this thing, and then there is the token, maybe state would be, initial state or something would be better. So this is the initial state, and what we have here is like, what's our ticker? The visibility is, I mean, it's about the precision of the thing. I'd have to look up exactly how that's being used. And then balance is you know, an address and the balance for that address. Okay, so that's the state, and that's the thing that you do interactions. Well, let me just do it, and I think the next part will be clearer. Yeah, so this, I'm going to copy this. This is not actually the interaction we want to do, but we'll copy it and then modify it. Okay. Oh, that's probably actually why I was still in paste mode. That's probably why I was getting tabs at certain points when I didn't mean to. Okay, so we're going to send the write interaction. We'll do a transfer. And we'll generate a wallet and we'll transfer it to a second wallet. And then our second wallet, what let's see, wallet JWK to address. I don't want that. I want to see source web, nope, node, nope, because it's in common. Wallets, address, get balance, JWK, the script to generate WK. Okay, so I think what we want to do is do console just gonna comment this out for a second. So I think what we want is const wallet to adder equals await. Actually, this is probably not. Probably synchronous. No, actually, it's not. Why is that interesting? Okay, fine. Await, wait, Arweave, wallets, JWK, to address, and oops, wallet 2. Okay. Wallet 2 adder. I'll just throw it at the end so that don't have to look through the logs there to find it. Okay, cool. So we're getting a valid address. Just checking, make sure I'm doing that right. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so what do we got? The target, input target. What does that look like? So should be some examples here. Function transfer quantity. Yeah. So I think it looks like this. So we're gonna do transfer qty equals 1000. That highlighting is weirding me out. What am I doing? Well, whatever. I guess it'll tell me. I feel like I must be doing something wrong with my highlighting. Oh, I know. It's just highlighting function because it. Yeah. That's actually the right highlighting. It's just that it's getting confused about function because function is also a keyword. Target. So the target will be wallet to adder. Okay, and then the last thing we want to do is get the state of the contract after we've done too many tabs. Read state. Yeah, so let's do this. Grab this stuff. Oh, I copied that right, didn't I? Yeah. So I duplicate. Sorry. I just want to do this last part. Read state after interaction. Okay, so we're going to send the transfer, we're going to mine, and then we're going to read the state afterwards. Let's see if that runs. Cool. So I think it worked. Validity. Oh, is that the... Yeah. Maybe that is the set of valid transactions. That's what I'm guessing. Let's see. Do we get those logged out? Yes, I think so. Okay, so that's like a map of transactions to whether or not they're valid. Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, it might be a good place to wrap it up. Coming up on an hour and a half here. Let's go look at the contract. So basically, how does sending the balance to it work? Well, whatever. I'll leave that. There's a balance function. I actually don't know how executing a function without read contract state write input. I'm not sure how the execution of those functions works in absence of an actual interaction taking place. Guess I'll look at that really quickly using generate assets contract function. Oh, let's try, yeah, okay, let me do one thing. So state after read state. Okay, so I think you can do read state. Oh, view state. Maybe. Yeah, I think that's it. So it's like view state. This is the variable names that are around this are not right as I'm making this change, but I'm just going to leave it. So function balance, and then we should be able to do the looks like the target. Let's see, does that run? Input, yes. Yeah, okay, so when you call the function, you're going to get the result of the function call as well as the entire state. Interesting. Target SPT balance 1000 ticker SPT visibility 1. Okay, yeah, so that's how you interact. You do a view state with the function name, then any arguments. Okay, again and again, like these variable names don't make sense after I've changed that. I'll just put that back to reduce confusion. Yeah, okay, so really wrapping up this time. So we have a basic token here that lets us transfer stuff. We can get the balance. You can evolve it. I'm not going to evolve it, but that's the capability of it. The thing that we can get into next time, I'll try to get all the testing sort of scaffolding all really squared away. Maybe even some sort of like interactive or run in the background testing loop. I don't know. I'll get something sane in place before the next time, and we can walk through it in that video. So if you found this one to be too meandering and confusing, sort of getting the initial setup going, I'll give an overview of that, and then try to implement staking. And for that, there's a bunch of examples that we can refer to of existing contracts. And yeah, I mean, after staking, the slashing, well, I won't go into that. Yeah, so that'll be the goal for next time. Basically, have a nice scaffolding in place and try to go through implementing staking. And I'll have to think, I think getting a really nice test setup going and kind of walking through what I'm doing there would be interesting too. So, all right, as always, thanks for tuning in. Hope this was interesting. I'm always open to feedback on these things. You know, I can change like how much I prep or not. I think sometimes just seeing all the, oh, like this doesn't quite work the way I thought it did is helpful, and maybe sort of encouraging too, to be like, yeah, everyone goes through that. But sometimes it might be distracting. So I'm open to feedback on all of that. But again, thanks for showing up, and I'll talk to you next time. I think we'll probably have maybe 2 more of these, I think, because, is that right? Yeah, I think 2 more, and then we're into holidays. So I would like to get the whole contract working, basically the basics going in that. So yeah, leave it at that. See you all next time.